Navy SEALs. It's 300 hours. You're not in bed. You're lying flat on your back in the freezing surf of the Pacific Ocean, and the water is a bone-chilling 58 degrees. Every time a wave crashes over your face, you swallow salt water and struggle to breathe. Your muscles aren't just sore, they're screaming. You haven't slept in 72 hours. And your body is shaking so hard, you can hear your teeth chattering over the roar of the tide. Most people see the movies and think being a Navy SEAL is about tactical gear and Hollywood explosions. They're wrong. At this stage, it has nothing to do with shooting a weapon. It's about surviving what can only be described as legalized torture. You are currently in BUDS, a 6-month meat grinder designed to do one thing: find your breaking point and push past it. Look to your left. Now, look to your right. By the time Friday rolls around, 75% of the men standing there with you will have rung the bell and quit. They'll suffer stress fractures, hypothermia, or simple mental collapses. This is surf torture. You are being rebuilt from scratch to endure the most inhuman training programs on the planet. You're learning that when your body gives up, your mind is the only weapon that actually matters. 75th Ranger Regiment. You've survived the freezing surf, but the vacation is over. You are now a member of the 75th Ranger Regiment, the Army's premier large-scale raid force. Your life is now a series of high-speed midnight appointments. While the rest of the world is dreaming, you're standing in a dimly lit hangar. The air is thick with the sharp, oily smell of jet fuel and the deafening whine of turbine engines warming up. You feel a crushing pressure on your shoulders. That's your 60-pound ruck, packed with ammo, explosives, and medical gear. At the previous stage, you were just trying to survive. Here, you are mastering the art of the breach. You spend hours practicing the physics of a flashbang, the exact timing of a thermal breach, and moving through a house like a ghost. When the Army needs a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer, you are the go-to. You operate in 4 to 6-man teams, fast roping from MH6 Little Birds onto target compounds. You're fast, you're loud, and you're gone before the sun comes up. Marine Raiders. The mission changes. You are stepping into the world of the Marine Raiders, and your identity is shifting into that of a guerrilla. Before, you had the weight of the Army or Navy behind you. Now, that safety net is gone. As a raider, your focus is small team independence. Imagine being dropped into a dense, humid foreign jungle with only 12 other men. There is no backup. You operate in the gray zone, the space between peace and all-out war. You spend weeks living in the mud, suffering from jungle rot, eating local food, and training indigenous forces to defend their own land. You have to be a diplomat and a lethal shadow simultaneously. The sensory shift is real. It's the smell of damp earth, the heavy silence of a forest at night, and the constant, buzzing tension of being outnumbered 10 to 1. You use night vision and encrypted comms to break things and leave a place better than you found it. You've survived the physical meat grinder, but now you've earned the right to wear the green beret. This is the transition from shooter to force multiplier. You stop kicking down every door and start doing something much harder. You start teaching. You are no longer just a weapon. You are an ambassador. Your new reality involves months of grueling language school and deep diving into foreign customs for unconventional warfare missions. You aren't just passing through a country, you're living in it, working alongside local forces to build an army from scratch. The moral stake is heavy. You are responsible for an entire local village. You eat their food and gain their trust. If your training is sloppy, the people who welcomed you into their homes will pay the ultimate price. At this level, a single conversation in the local dialect is more powerful than 1,000 rounds of ammunition. You have officially stepped off the map. You are now a member of the unit, specifically Delta Force. Your first lesson is total anonymity. Your neighbors see a boring guy who leaves for business trips at 2 a.m. Your family thinks you're a low-level clerk. You were selected through a process so secret the location is hidden. Walking alone through mountains with only a map and compass to prove you won't break when no one is watching. Inside the building, there are no ranks. Everyone is called by their first name or call sign. The culture is flat, quiet, and extremely good at violence. Your gear is black, unmarked, state-of-the-art prototype tech that won't see a regular unit for a decade. You just received a thin folder stamped Top Secret. The target, unknown. The location, redacted. You have 36 hours to prepare for a hostage rescue inside a fortified compound. You breach fast, clear room by room, and reach the target in under 4 minutes. Nobody will ever know what you did. You have reached the top of the naval spear, DEVGRU, or SEAL Team 6. At this level, the physical torture of buds is a distant memory, replaced by a world defined by technical mastery and absolute strategic pressure. You are no longer just an operator. You are a maritime ghost. You operate with GPNVG 18 panoramic night vision goggles, 4 lenses that expand your field of view to 97 degrees, turning a pitch-black midnight into a clear, neon-green digital landscape. You see the heat signatures of breathing lungs through thin walls. You see the infrared lasers of your teammates crossing the room like silent spiderwebs. This isn't just gear, it's an evolution of your senses. But with this power comes a crushing weight. You only get called for the missions that cannot fail. These are strategic pivots in history. When you fast rope from a Silent Hawk helicopter onto a darkened compound in Abbottabad, or a ship in the Indian Ocean, you know that the president and the top generals are watching your helmet cam feed in real time from the situation room. One nervous trigger finger or one missed corner isn't just a personal failure. It is an international incident that can topple governments or start wars. You are the apex predator of the night, the final word in American foreign policy. You live in a state of quiet professionalism, where your greatest achievements will never be whispered outside a SIFE, a sensitive, compartmented information facility. Air Force Pararescue. While every other unit on this list focuses on the target, your eyes are on the Brotherhood. You are an Air Force Pararescueman, a PJ. Your mission is the total inverse of everything you've learned. You aren't jumping into the heart of the fire to take a life. You are jumping in to deny the enemy the victory of taking one. Your life is governed by a single sacred motto: that others may live. The toll here is purely emotional and physical. When a ranger platoon or a raider team hits a hot landing zone and the call "Officer down" screams over the radio, everyone else is looking for an exit, but you are the one diving back in. You are a hybrid operator, a master of high-angle rescue, a combat diver, and a paramedic with the skills of a trauma surgeon. Imagine kneeling in the freezing mud, the air vibrating with the deafening roar of rotor blades from an HH-60G Pavehawk. Incoming rounds are snapping through the air inches above your head, but your hands do not shake. You are performing a battlefield tracheotomy or packing a sucking chest wound by touch alone, because it's too hot for lights. You carry the weight of your brothers on your back, literally and figuratively. Your success isn't measured in enemy bodies, but in the number of men who get to hug their families, because you refused to let them die in the dirt. Intelligence support activity. The battlefield has shifted again. There are no helicopters, no body armor, and no rifles. You are standing on a crowded city street in Beirut or Tripoli. You look like a bored tourist in a coffee shop scrolling through a phone. But behind those sunglasses, you are the watcher. You are part of the ISA, known internally as Task Force Orange. You have been in this hostile city for 6 weeks, living under a legend, a fake identity so deep that you have local bank accounts, a rented apartment above a bakery, and a history that exists in foreign databases. This is the peak of tradecraft. You are mapping the pattern of life for a Tier 1 target. You aren't just watching him, you are learning the rhythm of his soul. You know what time he buys his morning coffee, which route his security detail takes to avoid traffic, and which guard at the compound has a habit of smoking a cigarette by the back gate at 2:15 a.m. You pass your intel through dead drops, hiding encrypted thumb drives inside hollowed-out bricks or magnetic containers under park benches. You move through the city using dry cleaning maneuvers, spending hours taking random turns and entering shops to ensure you aren't being followed by local counterintelligence. You are a ghost among millions. You will never meet the Delta operators who eventually hit the target, and they will never know your name. But when they kick that door, they do it with total confidence, because you were the one who told them exactly which way the door swings. CIA Clandestine Service. You have officially left the world of uniforms and military honors behind. You have reached the CIA Clandestine Service, specifically the Special Operations Group, SOG, within Ground Branch. You no longer win battles. You move the chess pieces of history. Your identity is now a weapon of deception. You operate under NOC, non-official cover. This isn't just a secret. It's a death sentence if discovered. Unlike an embassy official with diplomatic immunity, if you are caught in a black site or a foreign prison, your government will scrub your name from every database. They will deny you ever existed. You are a ghost, a phantom in a suit or a local shawl, operating in the darkest corners of places like Tripoli, Beirut, or Kabul. Your mission is purely political and strategic. Months before an invasion even starts, you are already on the ground. You aren't carrying a rifle. You're carrying a briefcase full of non-sessile cash and advanced satellite communication equipment. You are there to recruit assets, negotiate with warlords, and arm local militias to fragment a regime from within. You are the master of unconventional warfare. You live by the twin pillars of plausible deniability and compartmentalization. You have learned to divide your mind so that even under a polygraph or intense interrogation, your legend, your fake life story, remains unshakable. You can monitor a target's skin conductivity in your head, keeping your own pulse steady while you lie to a high-ranking general's face. You infiltrate as a billionaire businessman, an international aid worker, or a low-level diplomat. You don't need to conquer a city if you can destabilize it politically. While the world's eyes are on the moving infantry columns and armored divisions, you have already set the board. By the time the first Hellfire missile or drone strike hits, the enemy has already been sold out by the very people they trusted, because of a handshake deal you made in a smoke-filled room 6 months ago. You are the architect of the shadows, ensuring the world's most powerful executive office has an invisible hand in every global shift. The Invisible Master. This is the end of the line, the pinnacle of the American strategic apparatus. You have more influence than a 4-star general, yet you wear no uniform. You've moved national borders and stopped wars before they made the news, but not a single person will ever know you existed. The higher you go, the lonelier it gets. This is the toll of mastery. You are a ghost in a machine you helped build, a name in every official report. As you sit in a terminal waiting for a flight to a country that doesn't recognize your presence, you see a nervous Level 1 candidate clutching a duffel bag, heading to Bud's. You recognize that look. He has no idea about the freezing surf or the secret briefcases. You catch his eye for a split second, a silent passing of the torch, before you disappear into the crowd.